they might have. That's a good point. Yeah, they might have. You're right. I don't know. Yeah, they might have. But once you got like, just the way that it pops out, we're going.
such a mess.
Thank you for indulging me for 1 second, because I always like just take an extra second just to take it all in before we start, because it's such a great evening. Good evening, members of the Board of Education, Mr. Moore, Mr. Vycinas, faculty and staff, family and friends. I am Dan Zatoon, principal of William H. Hall High School, and it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the culmination of 4 outstanding and sometimes bizarre years. The William H. Hall High School commencement ceremony for the class of 2021. At this time, those who aren't standing, we would ask to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will be led by Senior Junbom Hong and then followed by the National Anthem, which was pre-recorded by the Hull High School Concert Band. Our flags fell due to the weather, but fortunately we have our backup American flag over to my right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah!
Thank you. You may be seated. To the class of 2021, so I'm not going to lie to you, I did not see this coming. 4 years ago, you started your high school journey. I had no reason to believe your experiences would be that much different from many of the other classes that came before you. You would work hard, you would get involved in the arts, athletics, clubs, host of other activities. You would find successes and failures in and out of the classroom. Many of you would have had fun. Some might struggle, waiting for that next chapter of your life to begin. And then it changed. We all know how the story goes, so I will not make you relive it again this evening. But I would like to reflect on one aspect of these past 15 months, the common good. Over the last 15 months, you have made a tremendous amount of sacrifices. Your education, athletics, performances, trips, as well as numerous other activities, canceled or altered significantly. You put on masks and socially distance yourselves from each other during a period of time in your lives when developmentally, everything is centered around connecting socially with peers. You did this for the common good. While COVID led to the death of many people, teenagers were statistically not as likely to be impacted by the virus. However, you made these sacrifices not only to protect yourself, but to protect your family and members of your community. There are those who argue that making decisions for the common good goes against human nature. It's called psychological egoism. It suggests that all behaviors are motivated by self-interest. Plato, the famous philosopher, made the argument that if a person had a ring that made them invisible, they would always act selfishly because there would be no fear of punishment. With the utmost respect to Plato, I don't think he spent any time at Hull High School. When the end of summer approached, people would ask me, how are you going to make teenagers wear masks in your school or not go up the down staircase? People were more surprised that I did not appear worried. I told them it would be fine. I saw how you handled yourselves before COVID, how you came to Hull as freshmen ready to contribute to the Hull community, how you came to Hull and engaged in activities that helped others, You raised money and brought awareness for hunger, wore pajamas for childhood cancer, collected food for the West Hartford Food Pantry. I already knew you understood the importance of the common good. School started and you did it. And not because I said you had to, because, to be honest, I have a long list of tasks that I've had you do and still waiting for some of you to complete some of those. You did it because you knew it was important to help the community, the idea of the common good. What was interesting for me was around the same time you were making these sacrifices for the common good, I was contacted by another hall class, the class of 1960. Because of COVID, they were not able to hold their 60th high school reunion. Through their conversations, they decided to create a legacy fund to financially support current students who wish to pursue activities that would benefit society, benefit the common good. At the time, I was not sure where the project would go. During my time as principal, other classes have had money left over in their class accounts and have generously donated it to the school. We might get a few $100s or even $1,000, and we put in our student assistance fund to help pay for activities like field trips, proms, caps and gowns, or other needs. But throughout the year, I had meetings with the members of the class of 1960, and we brainstormed about what this could look like. They currently live all over the world, and just like in education, Zoom, Google Meet became this wonderful tool to connect people. Last month, I was informed that the class of 1960 has already raised over $50,000 for the fund for the common good. Each year, oh yeah, I thought I heard a clap, that's good. Each year, Hall will receive at least $2,500 annually to go to a student-led project that will help the community. I share this story because I believe the importance of the common good is a core belief of Hall High School that was probably instilled by William Hall himself. Whether you're in the class of 2021 or the class of 1960, your actions are based in this concept. It is instilled in you from your families, your teachers, and your community. As you begin the next chapter of your life, my challenge for you is to continue to find ways for your actions to support this common good. Spread this idea to wherever your new community is. Continue to support great causes, be an upstander, and find ways to help others. Maybe even start a fund in 2081 to help future Hall students continue the wonderful legacy you have inherited and exemplified during your time at Hall. It has been my privilege to have spent the last 4 years with you as your principal. Thank you. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Paul Vicinis.
Members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Moore, Principal Zatoun, faculty and staff, families, and the graduating class of 2021. Good evening, and thank you for the privilege to address you this, I should say, afternoon. And a special welcome to those graduating seniors here today who attended remote school for all or the majority of this year. It's truly special to have you here rejoining your class and your friends. I had the pleasure of teaching in the remote setting this year, and on Friday, I got to meet one of my students in person as she returned her textbooks. It was moving to meet a person after a year of only knowing their voice and seeing their face in a small 2-inch square on the screen. I look forward to meeting a couple of more here today. But before we get underway, let me just make sure this thing's turned off. I wouldn't want to be interrupted. Technology brings us many things: convenience, portability, but it also brings interruption. It's interesting to consider how our norms of behavior adapt to the changing conditions in our lives. When we're very young, whether at home or certainly in your days at kindergarten, you learn not to interrupt, whether in play by taking turns or learning to share, or in our communication, as we balance the development of our own expression with our ability to listen to others. If we think about those differences, they're anything less than subtle. An interruption in a conversation is blurting out your perspective and point of view ahead of any other. It needn't even be on the same topic. But by contrast, listening requires a thoughtful patience and consideration of other points of view that can lead to gaining of perspective. As we grow older, we adapt our skills of communication to read situations so as not to interrupt, and how to find just the right moment to interject into a situation. We also learn how to politely interrupt. When someone forgets a norm and monopolizes a conversation, goes on too long, or begins to steer a conversation into a direction we would prefer not to go. I'll do my best to avoid these issues this afternoon, but it's interesting to consider how many of our norms of behavior relate to avoiding interruption. But interruption is a theme here today. When I was asking for advice for my comments for this speech, KK, a graduate in the audience, told me, just don't say anything about COVID. Admittedly, it's a hard topic to avoid, and her dad had a slightly different perspective. He pointed out that last year's graduates, the class of 2020, had any number of unique experiences beyond the shutdown of school. We rallied as a community to ensure some level of special memories could be born out of a season of cancellation and the strife that persisted amid the height of the pandemic. And while 2020 was the year of cancellation, 2021 was left holding the pieces and may be considered the year of interruption. As students, you started and stopped enduring week-long interruptions to in-person instruction. You experienced a block schedule that interrupted the everyday flow of classes that you had only known to that point. You were halted and slowly regained the opportunities to sing together, to perform together, to compete together in music, athletics, and other activities. The interruptions were frequent, but with each came adaptation and innovation. Euripides is quoted as saying, "Nothing has more strength than dire necessity." With each interruption you've faced, we've seen an adaptation to the changes in your environment. You've learned to connect and communicate as a learning community within an online setting. You've become more independent as learners, taking the guidance and resources provided and doing the hard work to ensure your understanding. You've learned teamwork and collaboration, how to contribute and communicate even while separated physically or geographically. And so I encourage you to embrace your identity as the class of interruption. Go forward and use your skills of adaptation to interrupt systemic flaws and perceived obstacles to the greater good. Use the tool of interruption to make a difference, to leave your mark and improve your surroundings. Here's my charge to you. Be charitable. Interrupt poverty and need by giving, even if only of your time. Be honest. Interrupt deceit, spin, and all the white noise that clouds honest, rational debate on important issues. Be honorable. Interrupt social injustice and the mistreatment of others. Neither act nor condone the actions of others who divide people simply based on their differences. Be curious. Interrupt complacency in the status quo. Dig into the history of issues, identify root cause, and find innovative solutions to problems. Be unyielding. Interrupt perceptions of ceilings on heights that you may achieve. Embrace failure as a step within a pathway to success. Study it, learn from it, and adapt your next effort until you achieve what you seek to accomplish. And finally, be thankful. Reflect on the opportunities that you've been given, the opportunities that await you given the experiences you've gained, and take a moment before the end of this week to send one person a message of thanks, someone who's made a difference for you. Interrupt that person's routine with an outreach of gratitude. Graduates of the class of 21, congratulations and Godspeed. I am pleased to be followed by Amanda Aronson of our Board of Education.
Oh, wow. Look at you. You look amazing. We're so happy to be here with you today. You, the class of 2021, are the most prepared class that has ever left this district. You have been educated by us and by the world around you. In theory, that's true for every graduating class, but I think we can all agree that your global education and mental preparation have been unique. As you began your senior year, you knew you had a long road ahead of you. It took courage to begin, and it took stamina to finish. Just think of what you have observed that has informed your education. You have seen humanity crack wide open and reveal itself to you in myriad ways. You have seen positive and negative examples of leadership, of discourse, of decision-making. You've witnessed varying responses to crises, wildfires, hurricanes. You've seen shifts in national and international alliances. You've seen the world mourn titans of leadership and heard about their lives, their successes, and their struggles. The problems of our country and our world have been exposed to you clearly, and you know more than any other class that our democracy is not something to take for granted. And you have seen strength in your teachers and through the actions of every staff member in this district. You have seen courage on a daily basis, especially in those early days when they came to work because they loved you more than they feared a virus. Thank you, staff, faculty, leadership, for answering our community's call to courage this year. And you have seen the relevance of every single subject your teachers have ever taught you. You've seen how history often repeats itself, how poetry can inspire a nation. You've seen a space mission and a space landing on Mars. Think of the math that made that possible. You have seen vaccines get created and distributed to a global population. Think of the science behind that. You have seen a container ship the size of a skyscraper get stuck in the Suez Canal and disrupt global trade for nearly a week. Now that was collaborative problem solving in action. You've seen TikTok dances unite the globe. You've seen theater groups, dance companies, orchestras, and art museums present their shows online, making them accessible for the first time to people with disabilities. But perhaps most important, you have seen people try to cope with changing conditions. You've seen your caregivers manage immense stress. You have managed immense stress. Armed with that knowledge, you go into this next stage of your life with your eyes open. You know that it is important for you to learn strategies for how to cope when the going gets tough. And they can be learned, trust me. You have absorbed so much this year, and you don't need to know what to do with that. It's okay for you to be 18. To let all that you have seen and experienced sit within you and synthesize. Now, some of you may be off and running. You may be charting your course to be our society's most essential workers. You may be joining the service to protect us against threats, raising families who will support communities, going to work for power companies, manufacturing companies, technology companies that will help keep our world functioning and connected. And some of you may be sitting here without the first idea what you are doing. And that's okay. That's what 18 feels like. Sometimes that's what 44 feels like. You don't need to know right now how what you have learned will shape your life. Whatever gifts you have in you, just keep nurturing them, because you never know what the world will need and when it will need it. As I conclude my remarks, I want to thank you. On behalf of the entire West Hartford Board of Education, thank you for all you have done for our community this year. You have done so much. You worked in our community and helped keep our businesses running. You babysat siblings and helped keep families running. There's so many things for us to thank you for. Thank you, athletes. We needed you on those fields and in that pool. When your determination and sportsmanship were on display, you energized us and you reminded us what our values should be. Thank you, musicians. We needed you on those keys and on those strings, on that conductor's podium with your steady hand. You helped soothe us and lift our energy as the seasons changed. The same can be said to our singers. Thank you for using your voices for us. Sometimes you are in your rooms alone, just doing your part, unaware that when digitally combined, your voices became a gift to us. Thank you, thespians. You brought theater to us and gave us a break from reality for a while. Thank you, artists. You showed us how we were feeling and made our darkest days beautiful. Thank you, activists. You showed us, as you stepped up to mics, held posters, and marched the streets, what it feels like to be you in this world. You inspired us to learn how to support one another and honor our shared humanity. And thank you, comedians. We needed to laugh, and you delivered. We are so grateful to all of you. You are truly the most prepared class that has ever left us. You carried a heavy weight, but you carry with you now heavy wisdom. Congratulations, class of 2021. Onward you go.
Thank you, Ms. Aronson. At this time, we'd ask you to please stand as we listen to the William Hall High Alma Mater, which was pre-recorded by the senior members of the Hall High Chorale. We invite you to sing along. The words can be found in the program. be seated. Thank you, chorale members. If the senior members of chorale could please stand up just so we can recognize them for that outstanding performance. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to welcome our student speaker, Isaiah Lizardi.
I love you, Izzo.
How you guys doing today? Hello, fellow Hall classmates, Hall staff, and of course, Hall families. Thank you for being here in this beautiful moment of accomplishment and triumph. I'm going to tell you something that I haven't told many people. Think of this. I'm 7 years old, in the 2nd grade, being cute, yet disobedient. I just came back from skipping class. I walked into my room, my teacher really upset. Isaiah, can you see me after class? I hesitate, but I nod. Returning to my conversation with my buddies, talking about what we were going to do after school. At the moment, school wasn't really a priority for us. Hartford forced us to grow up quickly, and education just didn't seem like the path we should take, even if we wanted to. Constant fighting and bullying filled me with stress, but I felt safe with my friends. Bell rang, my friends quickly got up. I stood alone, waiting as Miss Piscatelli came over to me. Isaiah, do you even care about school? Tension was building. I looked, not saying a word. Isaiah, you are on the brink of staying back, you're putting yourself in a hole, and at this rate, you're gonna be a high school dropout. I stood mute and looked down at my Walmart boots, the beaters we called them. I couldn't move. Later that day, my mother, who was always determined and always my idol when I looked for someone strong, walked into the house looking broken and tired. She appeared to be giving up, and it was all my fault. She whispered, Isaiah, listen, baby, you are staying back. I'm sorry, but you're just not doing things right around here. That was the day I grew up. That day, I decided I won't be a dropout. I will change for my mother, the person who gave me life when there was no life left. Mommy was given every reason to be a neglectful mother. She never gave up on me. I wasn't going to either. 2nd grade, a second time, was a setback, but without it, there can be no comeback. Today is the proof of my comeback. And today is also proof of our comeback from COVID's history-making setback. COVID took performances, championships, celebration, family time, and so much more. These setbacks left us with heavy hearts. But here's the comeback. We've learned how to be patient, resilient, and real. In a time of chaos and uncertainty, we learned how to stay 10 toes down while not knowing any idea of the future. We had the weight of the world on our shoulders, reminding teachers over and over again, unmute. Come on, teachers. We learned how to be patient. Logging into endless Google Meets, we learned how to be resilient. Calling each other, creating group chats, holding each other accountable, we've learned how to be real. Patient, resilient, and real. I hope after all this, you've learned about the true definition of optimism. I trust that the rises and the falls, the ups and the downs made you realize and tell yourself, I am blessed and lucky to be here. It could have been worse. If you had a really tough time through this pandemic, this is a reminder. It always rains before the rainbow. There cannot be a comeback without a setback. And if you never break, you'll never experience a breakthrough. To all my amazing peers, I am so proud of you. We did it. Let's go. Let's go. No matter what path you took to get here, we all kept our hearts set on this day, and we are here. I understand you worked your butts off, staying up those countless nights to make sure you finish your homework, working hard to balance and juggle your social, athletic, and academic lives. It was incredible to see how adaptive you all became 1 year ago due to the pandemic. I admire how optimistic we remained while everyone was telling us no. No prom, no graduation, no sports, no in-person school. But remember that you did not do this all on your own. Hall seniors, we should be thanking anybody who taught us right from wrong. Thank your parents, aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, pets, man, even thank your enemies. They got you here. Thank you, Mom. I love you. Thank you to the family, the friends, teachers, coaches. Man, I'll even thank my first second grade teacher. Seriously, she opened my eyes and so did everyone else along the way. They taught me right from wrong. Please thank everyone who did that for you too. Today is a day we close the chapter of the book called High School. Today is a day you made history. You know my idea, IWMH. I will make history. COVID made history, but so did we. Today is proof of that. Instead of IWMH, it'll be WMH. We made history. Thank you, Hall. Thank you, The Voice.
Thank you, Isaiah. Now, please sit back and enjoy Homeward Bound, which is also pre-recorded by the Choral Leaders. Solos are performed by Jack Haddad, Delaney Fox, Grace Maynard, and Kate Sorensen. Thank you, choir leaders. And if the senior choir leaders could stand up for us, please. I'd like to now call up our faculty speaker, Mr. Justin Boucher. Good evening, parents, staff, faculty, and most importantly, the Hall graduating class of 2021. It means a lot to me to be selected as your graduation speaker. Thank you. I really do have the best job in the world. I'd also like to thank the West Hartford community, and especially your parents, for the faith that you have shown in us. These are amazing kids, but they're a reflection of families that have so much to be proud of. Tonight, I'd like to tell you a story about Friday, the 13th of November. It was the first day of our new hybrid schedule, and I had lectured 3 periods in the row. I was anxious to have that day go well. When I feel that way, I tend to fill the silences in my classroom with my own voice. Talking all throughout that day with a double mask had left me bone tired with an aching head. I was looking forward to community dinner. Throughout the course of our COVID isolation, community dinner had become an institution on my block. Our COVID pod had been spared the worst of the actual disease, but the pandemic had been hard on our kids, and it was hard on their parents. After weeks of isolation, 4 families on my block let the kids out to play. We had to learn to be around each other again, negotiating mask rules and distancing and adult responsibilities. That night, I got out of my car to find more questions than answers. Are we going to watch a movie tonight? What do we want on our pizza? Can you get the table out? These questions fell to me because over the course of the pandemic, I had taken on lots of jobs to make our little community run. I would haul out the big table from my basement for games and pizza. I set up a movie screen in my garage so the kids could watch movies and their parents could have a few more blessed moments of peace. And since I don't drink and the rest of my neighbors do, I usually went to get the pizza. I wish I could tell you that I had done all of this because of some deep altruism, but the truth is more embarrassing. Ever since I sat where you're sitting, I've been a deeply insecure person. I am anxious, I'm opinionated, and I rarely use one word when 10 will do, in hopes that if people could just understand me better, they'd be more likely to like me. The pandemic had made me desperate to be around people. I helped out because when people thanked me or pitched in, I felt safe. I could be certain, if only for a moment, that I was useful. It isn't a good look. With the anxiety and exhaustion welling inside of me, I rushed inside the house. I'm embarrassed to admit I snapped at my sons. That night I hauled the table, I set up the movie, I got the pizza, and I pouted the whole time. Later that evening, my anxiety had curdled into anger. I still didn't have faith that given the choice, my neighbors would continue to invest in us, and that left me feeling scared and taken for granted. I talked to my wife about it, I ranted to my therapist about it, and they both reminded me that I could always stay inside, and I could always ask someone else to get the pizza. So the following Friday, after wrestling with it all week, I sidled up to my neighbor Rob and I said, "My wife's got to work late, can you go get it?" And Rob got the pizza. We took a break for the winter, but as the weather warmed, we moved outside for dinner once more, and I'm finding that I don't mind getting it as much as I did back then. And in all kinds of ways, my neighbors are more helpful to each other than we had been in the beginning. The anxiety, the insecurity, that's my stuff, and it was clouding my ability to see why my investment mattered. COVID has reminded us through isolation, quarantine, and loss that we need each other. We build our realities in community. We create our sense of ourselves based on the groups we belong to and the groups we do not. We saw this at the onset of the pandemic, when so many of you were adrift. While some students were diving into virtual school, others were slipping away. Each day, my students would stay after class or grab some time in office hours to check in, just to have someone to talk to. It was easy in those days to see how hard this isolation was going to be on how many of you were suffering from insecurities that were all too familiar to me. Severed from our teams and our schedules, who among us wasn't worried that our friends would move on, leaving us to face this all alone? But the early days were not our destiny. In the face of COVID, you found new ways to come together. The change seemed to start, as so much of adolescence does, with acts of rebellion, both small and large. In what can only be called a bold flex, one of my students hung her prom dress in view of her laptop camera so that everyone in all of her classes would get to see it, even though there would be no prom. Others among you protested the cancellation of Pops and Jazz or the loss of a sports season. At the same time, some among you were organizing and marching for racial justice, coming together with the leaders of your community to demand change. These were acts of ruthless optimism, and they were sparks of hope. As the isolation went on, and especially as this school year has progressed, you have shown yourselves to be strong, flexible, and resilient. You were already doing the work that I was struggling with. No, this has not been easy. But in recent months, we have watched as you have come back to yourselves, and it has been a glorious sight to see. When my neighbors would get low this year, I would tell them about your work. I would tell them about your rebellions, big and small. I would tell them about my students who were, in spite of the pandemic, the most kind, smart, and generous kids that they could imagine. We needed that, and we need you. We need you to lead. We need you to gather. We need you to build and maintain communities that have been fractured by political division, because you know something that it took many of us years to learn, if we ever did. There is no substitute for each other. You graduate wiser, deeper, and better educated in the things that matter than most of us did. You are ready. So congratulations, class of 2021. Enjoy this summer. Go to your graduation parties, swim, fall in love, fill your Instagrams with photos to make the world jealous. And when you land in the fall, find your people, call your parents, and even when you're scared that it doesn't matter at all, get the pizza. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boucher. This is one of those moments where I kind of tell you what I'm thinking. Been doing this for 8 years and I still get goosebumps in this part. Mr. Moore, I've reviewed the records of the students presented this evening and can verify they have met the graduation requirements of the West Hartford Public Schools and the state of Connecticut. Now, assistant principals, Mrs. Kim Ambrose, Mrs. Megan Zingle, Mrs. Sarah Isaacs, and Ms. Melissa Hickey will assist me in presenting the diplomas with assistance of the school counselors, Ms. Marisa Berry, Mrs. Jessica Evans, Mrs. Amy Landers, Mrs. Christine Mahler, Mrs. Amanda Olson, and Mrs. Caitlin Smedberg.
Fabrizio Acosta Changanaki. Bo Sheridan Adams. Mohammed Haitham Ahmed. Natalie Jeanette Aries. Amel Ibrahim Aldeban. Naji Ibrahim Aldeban. Awab Ali. Javed Ali. Kenta Al-Qadri. Rebecca Catherine Allen. Carolyn Alquist. Selma Alsubai. Sophie Alter. Madeline Julie Alzamora. Ethan Jacob Anderson. Hallie Angel. Jessica Rauschel Anziano. Anna Olivia Argyros. Isaiah Jaquan Armstrong. Mitchell Baboff. Anna Zhongqian Baker. Isabel Jasmine Baker. Zoe Baker. Lorenzo Ballesteros. Dejan Sincere Banks. Daniele Barbosa. Samantha Claire Barnett. Jake Matthew Bodwin. Noah August Barons Gould. Gavin McMahon Belcher. Cameron Bello. Jacob Aaron Benthine. Zachary Ian Berkowitz. Jessica Emily Berman. Mira Catherine Blanchard. Jacqueline Boney. Victoria Drew Bustani. Sabrina Patricia Green Bramble. Aaron Thomas Brancato. Jack Benjamin Brown. Jaden Elijah Brown. John William Brunges. Hannah Jane Buckley. Lucas Maxwell Bush. Amaya Carice Cayas. Brendan Vischer Canary. Luna Lila Roditi Kaplan. Noe Daniel Roditi Kaplan. Jennifer Carlos Mayan. Callista Jimena Carlson. Joshua Castro. Aiden John Catalan. Ethan Brian Cedarfield. Adolfo Antonio Chacon. Emilio Marco Chan. Ethan Singer Chandler. Chen. Andrew Chang. Benjamin Chern. Zoe Chester. Ignat Chubario. Claire Church. Jacob Isaac Bush, or Cohen, sorry. Right. Callan Mac Colbert. Sophia Elizabeth Colleton. Kevin Patrick Coons.
Luciana Cordova. Luis Felipe Correa. Jack Cody. Jamie Cowan. Grace Elizabeth Crespi. Lila Cruz Velasquez. Princess Cummings. Drew Courier. Matthew Jared Sear. Riley Ann Dagnall. Luke Day. Juliana Da Isabel. Isabel Rose Danahy. Emily De Jesus. Alicia Danielle Del Barba. Aaliyah Alize Delgado. Sophia DeMeo. Sarah Beth DeSanto. Mira Deshpande. Brandon Diaz. Mina Song Dixon. Kobe Dominguez. Esteban Donato. Elijah Marie Douglas. Christopher Dowd. Allison Doyle. Liv Drazen. Anya Elizabeth Droney. Erin Catherine Dugan. Abraham Dunn. Tiffany Dong. Luke Duzan. Hannah Doozy. Sean Dyson. Cecilia Irma Echevarria. Divine Edwards Jr. Seth Ehrlich. Sari Rose Eisen. Maya Elizabeth Elaski. Sakai Patricia Epps. Harrison Friedman Epstein. Andre Espejo. Jordan Kenna Farrell. Lauren Ashley Feliciano. Connor Ferguson, escorted by Dad. Joseph Feinboy. Joseph Colby Fortuna. Delaney Grace Fox. Samuel Frank. Abigail Marie Frida. Angela Garcia. Benjamin Gardner. Ashley Gelber. Chase Elizabeth Jangris. Theodore Giannoulis. Cole Lucas Gibbons. Gabriela Teresa Giordano. Matthew Jacob Glassman. Nicole Marie Glisson. Sydney Catherine Golis. Caden Jack Goldberg. Yona Goldberg. Sarah Hygon Goldman. Andrew Gopal. Ryan Gothers. Kat Gottlieb.
Yes, Kat!
Ava Elizabeth Green.
Yes, Juba.
Chloe Griffin. Malia Griffin Prado.
Yes,
Aiden James Guzman. Jack Haddad. Julian Han. Mason Hanslick Barrand. Ella Gill Harrington. Rashed Hayashne. Vivian Rose Hayward. Mia Helen Healer. Maeve Marie Healy. Dylan Heinen. Israel Henriquez Sefo. Gary George Hernandez. Sebastian Hernandez. Maceo Hertz Velasquez. Kathy Huang. Lisa Huang. Alexander Jonathan Hobbs. Duncan Maxwell Hollander. Junebom Vincent Huang. Tyler Cole Horner. William Horton. Diego Elias Waman.
Yes, Diego!
Tessa Harper Hughes. Bridget Ava Hunt. Cameron Philip Hurley.
Yes,
Henry James Highland. Sofia Isabella Imetola. Shane Romy Jacob. Maxwell Raymond Jacobson. Josephine Kathleen Gilardo. Jessica Tori Johansson. Max Johnston. Evan Jones. Vinod Joshi. Eli Benjamin Kabikoff. Jalen Kane. Hannah Kareem. Dasani Ariana Karjan. Brandon Alexander Kaufman. Hunter Michael Keena. Charlotte Lucy Kennedy. Frankie Blue Kinsey. Sarah Kristen Klein Dessa. Samantha May Kruzek. Jeffrey Kuang. Genevieve Barrett Lafort. Ishak Lamfadel. Keith Laregi. Joseph Michael Laspada. Diane Leal. Tyler Michael Lean. Joy Elizabeth Lee. Isaiah Joseph Lieben. Andrew Jack Lemansky. Sean Patrick Leonard. Jonathan Max Leonidas. Benjamin David Levine. Isaac Malcolm Levine. Ella Jade Levy. Eileen Lee. Chelsea Rachel Licata. Christopher Michael Liddell. Joshua Ross Liebman. Jean Yi Lim. Isaiah Izzo Lazardi. Jaslyn Lazardi. Micah Hunter Lovell. James Edward Lynch. Natalie Lytle. Ella McCartney Madrak. Greta Magandance. Brianna Marie Maldonado. Dylan Amato Maldonado. Tyler Justice Maldonado. Gabriel Mulk. Kayla Maloney. Medina Mamedli. Gabriella Mangini. Campbell Manolis. Rebecca Lynn Markey. Zachary Quinn Marks. Emily Martin. Grace Maynard. Jack McCann. Brody Gurrit McCarthy. Brooks McConnell. Jackson McDonald. Gabrielle Paris McKenzie. Luca Medina. Charlotte Melnitsky. Isaiah Meyer. Leah Mendelson. Richard Michaelina. Isabella Grace Melcarrick. Sophie Miller. Zach Millman. Ameka Momeka. Alex Cooper Mogel. Colin Richard Manes.
Morgan. Oliver Moses. Josephine Jeanette Mozingo. Kiara Milena Munoz. Kimberly Andrea Murillo. Adam William Murphy. Kylie Marie Murphy. Christopher Murray. Akshata Gopalakrishna Nair. Justin Nerikati. James Nascimento. Alexandra Evelyn Nash. Emily Suzanne Nash. Jack Ryan Navin. Michael Neff. Van Kim Nguyen. Vulang Nguyen. Amruth Naranjan. Emma Nordquist. Olivia Norton. Steve Wachaku. William O'Connell. Carter O'Keefe. Aiden O'Toole. Ethan Obisesson. Mika Orzalak. Paige Ort. Chloe Otani. Lily Xiao Hong Owens. Stephanie Padilla. Carlos Patron. Malayla Pazoki. Maya Padermo. Anthony Pereira. Lauren Rachel Persky. Maxwell David Plenby. Catherine Platkin. Anthony Portal. Janine Puskars. Ananya Radhakrishnan. Jaden Raj. Andrea Ramirez. Emanuele Ramos. Marcus Ramsey. Eden Raviv. Gabriella Rago. Ella Grace Riley. Lauren Rico. Tori Renstrom. Michaela Rivera. Thomas Robinson. Max Rodman. Karan Rodriguez. Megan Rodriguez Hawkins. Hawkins. Sabria Rogendorf. Emma Roberzensky. Emilio Rolone. Jules Rose Hollis. Nikolai Rosine. Margaret Helen Rousseau.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
James Rosario. Abraham Relas Villasenor. Joelle Russell. Marcus Elias Russell. Cooper Russo. Dara Sadinsky. Elizabeth Sadler. Delissa Sanchez. Benjamin Sanderson. Kate Schmucker. William Schoen. Ethan Shuck. Drew Seguro. Andrew Seidman. Aditya Shaw. Sophia Shaughnessy. Maddox Chef. Jordan Shefsky. Tobias Joshua Siegel. Leora Rose Silverman. Sophia Singh. Jada Singleton. Jeremiah David Sink. Lola Smith. Catherine Sorensen.
Yeah, you're getting tapped.
Oscar Sosa III. Alex Steinfeld. Blake Steinfeld. Eli Stevens. Grace Stevenson. Evelyn Clara Stewart. Maeve Elizabeth Stone.
Fanula Mary Sullivan. Leo Joseph Sullivan. Patrick Sullivan. Andrew Gao Sun. Joseph Sun. Meredith Helen Swanson. Lillian Belmore Sweeney. Samantha Jane Tafrady. Kai Takayasu. Drew Taylor. Quillian Lee Taylor. Etni Tejeda Cardenas.
Yes, Annie!
Emma Teodosio. Aria Dappa. Owen David Thiel. Lynn Sive Thomas. Kevin Jackson Tiernan. Jack Michael Tomasowicz. Alexander Paul Torino. Billy Townsend. George Hendrickson Townswick. Christopher Michael Triotis. Julia Tran. Luca Trolio. Sophie Fairbanks Tolchinsky. Lauren Elizabeth Turner. Ginger Uceda. Jack Varney. Santiago Vasquez. Ismael Venancio de Figueiredo Sar. Matthew David Walker. Naiwen Wang. Sam Waterman.
Congratulations.
Audrey Weber. May Weiss. Matthew Weiss. Catherine Wally. Caitlin Ellen Winters. Vered Rachel Wolpaw. Oliver Woodward. Caleb Wu. Sharon Yang. Noah Yantef. Elizabeth Ann York. Layla Yusuf. Lily Zhang. Daniel Zhao. Jennifer Zhang. Shihan Zheng. Wen Zong. David Zhou. Jessica Zweifler.
Hey Brad, turn around for a second. Take a look.
Good job, guys. This is our future.
Sorry, I'm just soaking it in again. All right, at this time, I'd like to call up Lily Sweeney and Samuel Frank, who are going to give the charge to the class.
Good evening. My name is Lily Sweeney.
I'm Sam Frank, and I think our original forecast was all too fitting considering the storms that we've weathered this year and throughout high school. But we're all grateful to have faced them as one hall community and The sun is out now, and here we are.
All high school, class of 2021. At this time, you may take the tassel on the right side of your cap and move it to the left side. Congratulations!
Well, class of 2021, that's a wrap. Congratulations.